What's wrong with eating wild fish from deep fishing in cold, unpolluted waters?
So, in today's context and in general, research has now shown that fat from fish is actually toxic to the beta cells of the pancreas. Now, I can't tell you whatever the reasons are. Did that happen? Was that 200 years ago? I don't know that. I know now. Okay. So I don't recommend eating fish. The second thing is most of the oceans are polluted. As I mentioned before, in the Pacific, all the fish that are caught, all the different types, all have high levels of radiation. So that's a big thing there. And that radiation is polluting fresh water as well because it's coming over in the air. So they're higher in radiation, they're higher generally in pollution because fish don't pee. So, wow, they're building up toxins. And they say specifically, people who have fish 2 or 3 times a week really increase the rate of diabetes. That research has been done both in the US and in Europe. So we have some clear issues with that. Higher radiation, higher toxins, and fat from fish flesh attacks the beta cells of the pancreas. So I don't recommend fish for that reason. I used to think it was, beef, chicken, fish. That's the last thing you let go of, becoming vegan. But it's not that. Fish is the first thing you want to let go of because of what I just said. Conditions have changed.
Are green vegetables and sprouts enough to get all the protein and nutrition we need, or do we need to add beans, whole grains, and nuts to our diet?
Again, people vary as to what they need. 10 to 15% protein calorie part is where we want to go. What do we need to achieve that? I'm a slow oxidizer. I can eat a salad, a few nuts and seeds, and I don't need to eat for 6 hours. A fast oxidizer, with that, is going to need to eat in an hour or 2. Okay, so we have different protein needs. I call it the mTOR pathway, but somewhere we should be between 35 and 70 grams. So basically, a slow oxidizer can have half as much protein. Again, it's not a lot of protein compared to what meat eaters eat. Okay, so kind of keeping that in mind, I generally recommend nuts and seeds for everybody, but depending who you are, a handful versus a little bit is a general way of talking about it. Leafy greens also have protein. Spinach is 49% protein, but you're going to eat that much spinach to get a lot of protein. So it's a little deceptive to say, well, the leafy greens are high in protein. They are high in protein, but what you need to eat to get equivalent from a more condensed protein like nuts and seeds is significantly different. You can't eat a bushel of that. Oh, maybe some people, I can't. Also, we have protein concentrates that are really, really good. E3 Live, spirulina, chlorella. They run 60, 70% protein, and they're up to 90, 95% assimilated. So with people who need more protein in the diet, I'll suggest 1 to 2 tablespoons 3 times a day as a way of getting their protein up to where it needs to be. A lot of people are protein deficient, and these are very simple corrections. There's also what I call protein extracts. So there's concentrate from pumpkin protein or sunflower seed protein. So there's a lot of things available today. I avoid soy because soy has a variety of problems, plus it's a big allergen, one of the top 6 allergens, but it also has anti-thyroid factors. And there's a 5-year study that I saw that showed people having 2 helpings of soy a week has significantly more brain cell deterioration over 5 years. So I don't recommend soy. Lots of reasons, but those are the simple things. The key again is, according to your constitution, you need a little bit or a lot more protein. That's the key thing to get. And vegans are fine. Vegans get enough protein, but again, if you're slow oxidized like me, you don't need a lot of supplementation. With age, because being over 65, I had that 1 tablespoon. Okay, that's it. Other people really needed to have up to 2 tablespoons 3 times a day of some sort of protein concentrate. Spirulina or pumpkin seed protein concentrate. There's a lot out there. So those are the ranges. It's really easy for a vegan to get adequate protein.
Has seaweed been contaminated by the Fukushima nuclear disaster or other ocean pollution? Do you recommend we consume seaweed?
I think the key is yes. Fukushima is seriously contaminated. The research I've read, things like kelp and so forth, are fully radioactive. So and I like sea vegetables, I like nori, but I try to get it from the East Coast, the Atlantic, and hopefully that will be sustainable. North Atlantic is another place. So it's really good to do it, but not from the Pacific Ocean.
Should we be eating bee pollen? Or are you concerned about the sugar in it?
Bee pollen is very, very rejuvenative. And again, one of the things I've been suggesting throughout the whole interview is you could get very specific concerns, but not see the whole picture. The whole picture of bee pollen is it's very rejuvenative. It has all the amino acids you need. It's 15 to 20% protein. And generally, people do pretty well with it, particularly if you get it from locally grown sources. So I'm not really against bee pollen. A tablespoon or so a day doesn't seem to cause a problem because that sugar isn't significant in the big picture. And if you have diabetes, I don't recommend you take it till you're healed, till you're 6 months healed. So it's kind of more in what I call phase 1.5. So once you're healed for 6 months, your blood sugar is stable, you don't have hypoglycemia or diabetes, the amount of sugar you're getting is not significant. Again, we have to be careful of getting so focused on this is dangerous, but we don't see the whole picture. Yeah, it has some sugar, but it has all these other incredible rejuvenative aspects to it. So we have to have a balance. It's a funny story where at the tree we sometimes used to have a play, each year, kind of like, and the play was somebody was in the desert, and they were dehydrated, they were basically about to die, and somebody came with a jug of a liquid, and okay, they're dehydrated, about to die, the whole act, and the person who's dehydrated, dying of dehydration. So what's in that? Well, it's apple juice. Oh, it's too sweet. And with that, they die. So it's like having perspective. So bee pollen falls into that. If you got hypoglycemia, if you have, diabetes, I wouldn't be recommending it. If you have cancer, I wouldn't be recommending it. But just normal levels of health, it's going to add to your well-being a little bit.